Shalom Aleichem, my name is Eliyahu, and today I will be disproving some of the lies given by the YouTube channel known as Proven Islam. In one of his more recent videos, made only about a month ago, he makes the claim that Judaism is exposed as idolatry through a long web of lies and misinterpretations of the Talmud, or the Shaz, as you could call it, and I'm simply going to disprove these lies one by one. So let us begin. So the first point that he makes is through multiple quotes from the Talmud that, from a first look, may look like that the Torah or the Talmud is claiming that Hashem is physical, as physical attributes, and that is the claim that he is making. But through very basic and closer looking into it, you can actually see in reality it is metaphorical what it represents. But he makes the wrongful claim that there is no metaphorical meaning of these quotes, of these verses, which is factually untrue, and I will show you why in the next page. So as we see in the page, we see one of the quotes that he uses. I will read it out for you. It says, "What did Moses see? As it is said, and I will remove my hand, and you will see my back, but my face you will not see." Rav Hana Bar Bizna said in the name of Rabbi Shaman Hasidah, the expression, "and you will see my back," should be understood as follows. This teaches that the Holy One, blessed is He, who is mentioned above, wears phylacteries, showed him the knot of the phylacteries of his head, which is worn on the back of the head. So phylacteries are these small black boxes that we wear on our heads during the morning prayer, and it is saying right here that Hashem, blessed is He, is also too wears them. But as we will see in the next verse, that I will show you, in reality is only metaphorical, which he makes the claim that it is not. So I shall read out for you. It says, the Gemara cites another Aggadic statement. The Rabbi Avin ben Rav Ada said that Rabbi Yitzchak said, "From where is it derived that the Holy One, blessed is He, wears phylacteries? As it is stated, the Lord has sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength." Isaiah 62:8. Since it is customary to swear upon the holy objects, it is understood that his right hand and the arm of his strength are holy objects upon which Hashem swore. Specifically, his right hand refers to the Torah, as it is stated in describing given of the Torah. For his right hand are fiery law for his people. Deuteronomy 33:2. The arm of his strength, his left hand, refers to the phylacteries, as it is stated the Lord gave strength to his nation, Psalms 29:11, in the form of the mitzvah of phylacteries. So as we can quite clearly see, it is obviously metaphorical. It obviously refers to the Torah and his strength, metaphorically, but he makes a claim that it is not, which I've just disproven. Now we'll go on to the second point that he makes, which is that we worship our rabbis, our rabbanim, our sages, which can again be easily disproven. So the first point that he makes here is in this quote. It is I will just simply read it out for you. It says, Rabbi Yeshua stood on his feet and said, "It is written, it is not in heaven." This is referring to the Torah. The Torah is not in heaven. The Gemara asks, what is the relevance of this phrase? It is not in heaven. In the context, Rabbi Yeshua says, since the Torah was already given at Mount Sinai, we do not regard a divine voice. Divine voice spoke to Rabbi Eliezer and the congregation he was in, that he was debating in, and said that Rabbi Eliezer is true, which is different from the majority of the opinion. So let's continue. The divine voice, as you already wrote about Sinai in the Torah, after a majority declined, Exodus 23:2. Since the majority of rabbis disagree with Rabbi Eliezer's opinion, the halacha is not ruled in accordance with his opinion. The Gemara relates, years after, Rabbi Natan accounted Elijah the prophet and said to him, "What did the Holy One, blessed is He, do at that time of Rabbi Yeshua issued his declaration?" Elijah said to him, "The Holy One, blessed be He, smiled, said, 'My children have triumphed over me, and my children have triumphed over me.'" There is two things he forgets in that. First of all, he forgets the fact that it said that he smiled, and he also changed the word triumph to defeat. And in reality, what this means, it is not saying that somehow the sages are more powerful than Hashem, and that the sages somehow have more authority to him. uh, what it is showing to is that it is showing that the test that they were given has, that they've been able to accept and be able to overcome this test by Hashem, which is why he says, "My children have triumphed over me," being able to understand his test. Logistically, it would make no sense that a divine voice would then overcome a majority vote by the sages, as it is shown in this quote. Next to it, I believe it's in Pirkei Avot 1:1. It says Moses received the Torah at Sinai, attributed it to Joshua, Joshua to the elders, and elders to the prophets, and the prophets to the men of the great assembly. They said three things: be patient in the administrations of justice, raise many disciples, and make fence around the Torah. So, the Great Assembly are the people referred to in here, and these people, as they were the mainly what the Torah was mainly transmitted to since Moses, had the main opinion to make halacha, as it says here. So it would be completely illogical to then say that for some reason a divine voice could then overrule their main and the majority rulings of halacha. So obviously it must have been a test, but he misinterpreted this, whether purposely or just through blissful ignorance, as being some form of a majority worship of our sages, or being some sort of worship of our sages of a Hashem, which logistically makes no sense. So now we will go to the third point he brings, which is our apparent worship of the dead. So he makes the claim that we somehow worship the dead, and I will show here that we do not. So in Rambam's 30 Principles of Faith, you see on, I believe, the fifth principle, it says Hashem alone should be the object of worship, which, if we go into more detail, would mean someone that transmits our prayer to Hashem is actually idolatry, is not allowed, which prayer to the dead would be, and this isn't just by Rambam. Rambam, also Ramban and Ran, all forbid prayer to the dead. We can see Rambam's commentary, the Mishnah Sanhedrin 10:1. We can read, "He, Hashem, may he be blessed, is the one whom is proper to serve, to praise, to make known his grandeur, and to fulfill his commandments. This should not be done to any entity that is subservient to him, be the angels, the stars, the planets, or the elements, or their compounds. The activity is programmed. They have no control and no choice but to perform his will. Thus it is improper to serve them as intermediaries in order to come close to Hashem. Rather, one should direct his thoughts towards the Almighty alone and abandon anything other than him. This is the fifth principle warning us against idolatry, as affirmed in the Torah." So now we see that his claim that we somehow pray to our dead is completely illogical, as shown by Rambam. So the other claim he makes just after this is specifically with our prophets. He makes a claim that specifically with Prophet Isaiah, we somehow killed him, or we somehow said it was right for okay to kill him, which I will show to you makes no sense at all. So the first point he makes is specifically with Yevamot 49b. He looks at the last part. He says he was punished for referring to the Jewish people in a derogatory name. But in reality, as you can see, this is not the actual text. This is just the commentary given by Sephora, or the website that this comes from. And the reason they get this is because it comes from Rashi's commentary. And if we actually look at Rashi's commentary, it directly translates to the relevant part of the beginning of Rashi reads, "And this is why he was punished by having his mouth sawed, because he called the Jews and derogatory name." So this is specifically stating why the punishment of his mouth being sawed happened, not because not the punishment of his death. He this is the Rashi in his Rashi commentaries only explain why his mouth was sewn, not because not why he was killed, and we will see now here his death was actually evil and in no way is it supported and by any of the sages in the Talmud. So we can see right here on 2 Kings 21, the Manasseh, who was the king of Judea at the time when Isaiah was murdered, we can see how he's described by the Torah. It says Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hephzibah. He did what was displeasing to the Lord, following the abhorrent practices of the nations of the Lord had disposed before the Israelites. He rebuilt the shrines of his fathers, Hezekiah. He had destroyed. He erected altars for Baal and made a sacred post, as King Ahab of Israel had done. He bowed down to all the hosts of heaven and worshipped them. It cut off where it says them. So as we know, he is cursed. He is shown as hating the Lord, and the Lord is hating him. This is the only part in the Gemara it even curses him. So there is in no way, logically, you can say that we somehow supported or are okay with the death of Isaiah. We quite clearly are against it and curse the people who done it. So the next claim he makes is specifically with the angel. The angel Metatron. He makes a claim that Metatron is somehow shown as equal to Hashem, and I can show you right now in the Zohar. It says in Zohar 181b that at the time the Holy One blesses he when it says at the time the Holy One blesses he when it tests for energy above so as to shine well upon the moon, as it is written, moreover the light of the moon shall be the light of the sun. The light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of 7 days. Thus will supernatural light be added to our own, then all the dead and all the dust will be stirred. He calls him servant, masculine form, for the secret path to the master's keys in hand. The same applies to the verse. And Abraham said to the servant, who is the moon, as we've learned, Metatron, the servant messenger to his master. So as we quite clearly see in this and in other things, Metatron is depicted as a servant to Hashem. It is never seen as equal or a somehow cooperative to Hashem. It is shown as specifically a created servant of Hashem. It is never seen as him being equal to Hashem. Now we get to the next point, which is the claim of sorcery. He claims that we somehow are okay with sorcery and we're practicing sorcery, but I will show you now that it quite clearly states in the Torah that sorcery is evil. On the left, we have a quote from the Talmud Yerushalmi Haggadah 2-77d, which shows that we hanged 80 witches in Ashkelon for being sorcerers and harmed the world. Says Deuteronomy 18, let no one be found among you who has consigned his son or daughter to the fire, or who is a orca, a soothsayer, a diviner, a sorcerer, one who casts spells, or one who consults ghosts or familiar spirits, or one who inquires of the dead. For anyone who does such things is abhorrent to the Lord, and it is because of these abhorrent things that the Lord your God is disposing them before you. So as we quite clearly see right here, sorcery is seen as evil and wrong. But again, someone makes the claim that we support sorcery and that sorcery is morally correct or okay to do for Jews. So right here is another claim that he makes, which will be the last claim I'll be going through for now. It says, right, he makes a claim that the cherubims, the things on top of our covenant, are in some way, somehow, are idols, and that are even more disgustingly, he describes as being sexually attracted to each other and in sexual positions on top of the covenant. I will show you right now that that is a absolute lie. So, according to the Yom 34a, the cherubs were male and female and represent the love between Hashem and Israel. When there was love between Israel and Hashem, they would face each other, and when they wasn't, they would face away from each other. Quite clearly, it just shows their relationship with each other. It never says that they in any way were sexually attracted or in any sexual position. It is simply a misinterpretation, a misunderstanding of the verse. Now, there is a few more points he makes, specifically with the Torah and Torah transmission. I will not be going through in this video, as I would like to make a whole new video for that, not just disproving what he says, but also proving that the Torah is 100% true. And has 100% been correctly transmitted from generation to generation. I would like to say thank you for this video, and Baruch Hashem. I hope not to see many of these lies again, but the Sunnis and many Zaitans have wanted to attack Judaism for a long time, and I'm simply now coming out to create content against these lies. So, Baruch Hashem, and I will see you later. Thank you.